Then he paused for 10 full minutes, waiting for someone to say, "That's not true." Because Trump can't go to heaven. He's far too busy down here, running hell.
What if the most effective way to expose someone wasn't to argue against them, wasn't to fact-check them line by line, but to simply play their own words back in the right order? No commentary, no editorializing, just sequencing. That's exactly what Saturday Night Live did. And the reason it landed so hard wasn't because it was funny, it was because it was undeniable. Colin, Jost, and Michael Che didn't walk onto that weekend update desk with new research or breaking revelations. They came with something far simpler: an archive, public statements, recorded actions, recurring themes pulled from years of coverage that already existed in plain sight. What they did was reorganize that material into a sequence, because here's what sequencing does that argument cannot. A single statement can always be dismissed, taken out of context, misunderstood, blown out of proportion. But when you line up 10 of them from different years, different situations, all carrying the same tone, they stop being isolated incidents. They become a pattern. And patterns are nearly impossible to dismiss because dismissing a pattern means explaining away every single data point, not just one. SNL wasn't making an argument. They were revealing a shape. The segment built its entire foundation on one central contradiction that has followed Trump for nearly a decade. He has relentlessly attacked media institutions, calling them corrupt, dishonest, enemies of the people. And yet he has never stopped engaging with those exact same platforms. He monitors their coverage obsessively. He responds in real time. He uses them to dominate news cycles and shape narratives. SNL didn't argue this. They demonstrated it. Attack followed immediately by engagement. Criticism followed immediately by reliance. The juxtaposition did all the editorial work without a single word of commentary needed. And that distinction matters enormously. When someone argues a contradiction, the audience can push back, question the framing, accuse bias. But when the contradiction is shown, rather than stated, when the audience sees it with their own eyes, there is no argument left to have. Then the segment moved into something even more revealing. Statement after statement, pulled from completely different situations across different years, all framing opposition in nearly identical terms. Coordinated attacks, political motivation, paid agitators, radical left operatives. The specific issue barely mattered. The framing stayed consistent regardless of context. This consistency reveals the actual intent of the strategy. The goal was never to address the substance of individual criticism. The goal was to establish a default lens. Train an audience to filter any incoming criticism before they even evaluate its content. If every critic is paid, if every attack is coordinated, if every unfavorable story is biased, then nothing ever needs to be addressed on its actual merits. SNL made this visible by presenting the pattern itself rather than engaging with any single instance of it. And once a pattern is visible, the strategy loses its power. The monologue closed with a deliberate pause. 10 full seconds on a live stage. The implicit challenge was simple. If any of this is inaccurate, here is the moment. Correct the record. Name the error. Nothing came. Because the material wasn't sourced from opposition research or partisan commentary. It came entirely from the subject's own recorded words. And when your own statements become the evidence against you, there is no clean defense available. Calling the messenger biased doesn't work when you are the source. The only option left is to attack the platform, which, as the segment already showed, had been tried repeatedly and had only produced another layer of contradiction. What Jost and Che built wasn't traditional satire. It wasn't exaggeration or caricature. It was architecture. A carefully constructed sequence of real material designed to make a pattern visible that individual moments had always allowed to stay hidden. In a media environment where the loudest voice usually wins, sometimes the most powerful move is building something so structurally sound it doesn't need a voice at all. Just the archive, just the sequence, just the truth arranged in the right order. If this kind of breakdown is what you're here for, hit subscribe and drop a comment below. Do you think comedy has become one of the most effective forms of political accountability we have left? Or does it just preach to the converted? I want to hear both sides.